Welcome to On the Rocks podcast, sponsored by supermetalworld.com. I'm your host, Nate Callens. Today, I've got a very special guest. Writer Dan Ozzi is here, along with Against Me's Laura Jane Grace. He's the co-author of Tranny, Confessions of Punk Rock's most infamous anarchist sellout in 2016, which was listed on Billboard's list of the top 100 greatest music books of all time. His latest book, Sellout, is out now. It's Sellout, the major label feeding frenzy that swept punk, emo, and hardcore, 1994 to 2007. It was released a few days ago by Mariner Books at HarperCollins. For over 5 years, he served as a staff writer and editor at Vice's music site Noisy and has contributed to Billboard, Spin, The Fader, The Guardian, The AV Club, and others. His last name is pronounced Ozzi. It's Danozzi. He lives in LA with his unmanageable record collection. You guys, this book is awesome. It covers bands Green Day, Jawbreaker, Jimmy Eat World, Blink-182, At the Drive-In, the Donnas, Thursday, the Distillers, My Chemical Romance, Rise Against, and Against Me. Rolling Stone says, based on a trove of original interviews and personal stories from band members and other crucial players, Ozzi examines how 11 groups from Green Day and Blink-182 to At the Drive-In, Thursday, and Against Me grappled with the tension between punk's core tenets and major label possibilities, and parses what successes and failure look like in the fraught realm. NPR says, Ozzi looked at the major label debuts of different bands in this genre, tracing a music industry in flux, fans betrayed by their idols, and bands trying to navigate the machine. Brooklyn Vegan says, Sellout succeeds because it doesn't sway you to think one way or another. It doesn't paint major labels as the enemy of punk or the saviors. It just tells a fascinating history of an era of punk that can be talked about without diving into the impact of major labels. AV Club says, a compelling and sometimes hair-raising account of what it meant to throw in your future with a large corporation in hopes of translating that effect into units sold and the promise of a career in rock. Vice says, the book is structured so that each chapter functions in isolation, but when you read front to back, Sellout presents a fluid timeline of events that follows punk on its conflicting journey through the mainstream. That's what I liked about the book, is that you could just take a chapter and read it, set it down for a day, read another chapter. There's no losing your place and trying to remember what happened in the book. It was great. Craig Finn, friend of the show, but he's never been on the show, from The Hold Steady, says a fascinating, entertaining look at punk bands signing to major labels to expand their audience and their careers. Sellout offers crucial insight into the way punk rock and big business have attempted to work together in the 30 years following Nirvana's Nevermind. And lastly, Jonah Ray of Mystery Science Theater 3000, a hell of a lot more things, says Sellout perfectly encapsulates the musician's delicate dance between art and commerce. Brody Dahl from the Distillers sums up selling out the best. So selling out, yeah, maybe we did, but ultimately we were like, whose fucking career is it? Yours or ours? Fuck off. Enjoy my interview with Dan Ozzi. Dan Ozzi is connecting to audio.
Hello.
Hey, Dan. How's it going, man?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, excited. I just have to be off by like 1:45 or so.
Yeah. Yep. That's totally cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for your time, however much you can give.
For sure.
Appreciate it, man. How have you been?
Overwhelmed, but good.
Yeah. How many of these have you done today or this week?
I think I have 6.
Oh, wow.
The hosts of them are the daunting part, because I just did Mark Hoppus's.
Oh, geez.
And then after this, I do Tom Morello's.
Oh, my God. I mean, 2 huge name drops, but I would do the same thing.
Yeah, I gotta flex, you know.
And then there's On the Rocks podcast. Welcome to this, small indie podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Love the book, Sellout.
Thanks.
Get it in screen here. The new book, Sellout, the major label feeding frenzy that swept punk, emo, and hardcore, 1994 to 2007, by Dan Ozzi, who is joining me right now. It's out on Mariner Books at HarperCollins in stores. 2 days ago. So you just been doing a lot of press, getting a lot of good feedback, right? I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's that FOMO thing, because up until like a week ago, it was like, I hope people care about this book. We'll see. And then it happened, and it's like, whoa, okay, now it's a lot.
I know it's all at once.
Yeah,
all the time.
And I used to work in book publicity, and I know that this is like a window that closes eventually.
Yeah.
But not for me. I'm going to be famous forever.
You're going for it, man.
My 15 minutes will never be up.
Right.
There's that line in that movie Pop Star, which is so underrated, that I think about all the time, when he like won't get off the stage, and he just goes, I'm gonna die up here. I'm never getting off this stage. So that's what I feel like right now. I'm never getting off this stage. I'm gonna die up here.
You're gonna die up here on Zoom. That's great. Well, some of the feedback, I mean, excuse me, you're Jeff Rosenstock approved. What more could you ask for?
Yeah. I mean, really. to get through his people, and then to get through his people's people.
Yes.
And then have him then get through my people and my assistants people, all
the gatekeeping, all that stuff.
It was tough. It's funny. And I don't mean to put Jeff on the spot, but asking for a blurb for a book is very funny, because you're like, hey, would you write say nice things about my book for the cover? And they're like, yeah, sure. And you're like, great, here's the book. It's 450 pages. Forgot to mention I need it in like 4 days. And so, I feel like when Jeff gave me his blurb, he was just sort of like getting started, because I gave him like such short notice. Sure. And then he did read the whole book, and he was like, wow, this is a really good book. I wish that I had been a little bit more eloquent in my quote. Right. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Just having your name on it alone.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, along with, little man named Craig Finn from the Hold Steady, which
you heard of that guy?
Oh my God. He's one of my favorite artists.
Another guy had to go through, his people, and he actually used to be my neighbor in Brooklyn.
No way.
I run into him sometimes, which is very surreal. I'd see him on his like runs, yeah.
I mean, for me with the Hold Steady, it's a band I got into listening to The Current, which is out of Minneapolis. I live in Fargo. I could throw a baseball to Minneapolis from here. I mean, it's 4 hours. I can throw kind of far, but so I've known about him for a long time, and he's someone we featured on the show, not as a guest, but just talking about the Hold Steady a lot on the show. So when I saw that, I was like, oh damn, man, you got Craig Finn on the back of the book.
Really cool, humble guy.
Yeah, really. He seems like just a cool dude. I've seen them a couple times at bigger venues and one really small venue, and both shows were just super awesome. And so congrats on getting Craig Finn on there. Thanks, and Jeff too. Jeff calls blurbs, it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, the blurbs are, I hated that part of it. 'Cause like, number one, I felt that it would somehow be like journalistically unethical to ask somebody who is in the book, if they could blurb it. Like that seemed
self-referential, and
but the problem is, like, I asked every famous person I knew if I could interview them for the book. So after that, I was like, I don't know who is left. And and like all of the people that I went with, Jeff, Craig, and my friend Jonah Ray, they're like,
he's awesome too.
All in the music scene currently. So it was like, okay, well, that'll be cool. I'll have some like modern musicians talk about this, because I just couldn't. I had already called, and then you're just calling in favors. Yep. And it's I don't like that feeling. It's just like, can you say nice things about me online, please? And so quickly too. My publisher wanted them. They say that it's helpful for, like the book buyer at BNN. It's like, oh, you got a quote from Craig Finn? I love the Whole City. Great. Cool. I'll take like 2,000 copies. Or
right. Yep.
So apparently it's helpful for them, but I don't really, I'm super grateful that they did it. But to me, I was just like, who cares? Like,
people get some recognizable names, slap them on there, see what happens. Well, I love the book.
My name not big enough.
Yeah, right.
I am famous author Dan Ozzi won't do it.
I mean, it's pretty big. It's impressive.
I know. Do you put the authors? There's no author's name on the Bible. There's no blurbs on the Bible.
That's true.
I would love to get a blurb for the Bible.
Yeah,
just like, hey, can you say something nice about this? It's like, this is the definitive biography of Jesus,
written by Jesus himself.
Come close to it. Yeah.
And then which version is it on? Is it the King James version? Who even knows?
Yeah, this one blows the King James version away.
It's not even close.
Elton John or whoever they got to.
Elton John.
I don't know who would be a good person.
Eminem. I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
Jerry
Eminem would have been cool. I should have hit Eminem.
I mean, for volume 2, which we'll get to that. I have questions. I loved the book, and full disclosure, I read the first 4 chapters, and then I was like, man, I am short for time. So I downloaded the Audible version of the book, which I love. I love it because I listen to podcasts all day while I work. I work from home, and I loved your reading of the book. So
I didn't read it.
Cheers to you. That wasn't you?
Yeah. No, that wasn't me.
What?
Wait, you really thought it was me? No, I didn't read it. They didn't even ask me if I
Who
wanted
read
to,
it?
which I thought.
Okay, I should have done more of my homework.
What happened? Unless I
God,
did, and I feel like I'd remember recording 40 hours of.
Yeah, it was like a million hours.
No, like my publisher one day just like emailed me like 5 links.
Okay.
And it was just 5 guys,
5
all
dudes.
men, reading a page from my book. And they were like,
wow.
Pick which one you like the best. And full disclosure from me, I've never read an audiobook in my life or listened to an audiobook in my life.
I was going to say,
so
you sounded like a goddamn pro.
I sent it to my friend, and because he does listen to audiobooks. I don't think he can read, but he listens to audiobooks. So
That's why I do
which
too.
Which one is good, and then I'll go with that one.
Sure.
And so he picked one, and I was like, great. But then I was having this conversation last night. My friends, who they took me out to like a celebratory dinner on Tuesday. They're like famous actors.
Wow.
And they were like, you didn't think of your friends to narrate the book. And I was like, they legitimately did not ask me. They didn't ask me if I had any preference. They were just like, pick one of these guys.
Yeah. They didn't ask you if you could pick like Patton Oswalt or like Daniel Stern. Or,
it's funny because I don't think I'm betraying too much of this, but my friend, these actor friends, they have other actor friends. And one of the actor friends that they are actor friends with is Writer Strong.
Oh, nice.
Writer Strong.
World. Yeah.
I haven't listened to it, but Writer Strong narrated the Anthony Kiedis biography.
No way.
And I found out recently, memoir, and I found out recently that all of my friends in like the indie rock community, Jeff, Laura Stevenson, they're all obsessed with this audiobook. It's supposed to be amazing. I've not heard it, but they like say it's the most amazing thing that you can listen to. Somebody said it was so good that they like listened to the audiobook and then it made them go read the book. And so I don't know if my publisher had asked me, perhaps I maybe could have even landed Writer Strong for it, but they didn't ask me.
Or even
that
Topanga
really cool.
or Corey Matthews.
Anyway.
I mean,
did you know Danielle Fishel is like a big metalhead? Did you know that?
I did not know that, but that is pretty freaking awesome.
I bet like the bad metal though, I think she likes like Avenged Sevenfold and stuff. Like she's not like going to Watain shows.
No, not like the metal that we grew up with.
She's like a metalcore-ish person.
Really? Wow, Topanga, you've come a long way. So I mean,
for the record, I don't know her.
No. I mean, I'd believe you if you did. Well, I'm embarrassed that I thought it was you reading, but your voice does sound different than
now that you think about it, right?
Now that I think about it a little bit, I did, truth be told, listen to a few other podcasts that you were on too, just to kind of see what they talked about already. And they talked about why you wrote the book. So I will ask also that I
haven't gotten into the blurbs of the audiobook, so this is new territory. I got fresh material. Thank you. Yeah,
for sure. You should listen to it and just see, like, if you approve.
Listen to my audiobook.
Yeah, why not? Is that too weird?
No, it's fine. I've never listened. Laura read the book that we wrote, and I've never listened to that.
That's my next one I'm going to listen to. I downloaded that one too.
I've never heard it. It's cool that she did it. But this one, like, I don't know. This is such a pretentious thing to say, but I really write. I write books for the experience of reading with your eyes, and so like having it read. Don't get me wrong. I'm like happy that people are consuming it in any form, but like that just seems counter to the way I designed it. Maybe it is really cool, but I think a lot about punctuation and when to break a paragraph,
structures,
and when, like
for sure
how to format a quote or something like that. So to me, like I've also given like speeches, like when I've had to talk somewhere or something like that, and I write so much differently for that because you're like, I would never say that word in real life. Like that's a fancy word to put on paper. But like when I say that in conversation, so you have to write for what the purpose is. And so like I definitely did not write this book thinking like, oh yeah, this is going to be read aloud. So in a way, I just don't want to hear it. If you say it's good, I believe
it is. I mean, not you, was reading me a story, a bunch of great stories.
Oh, cool.
What I enjoyed too about the book is that you could pick it up a week from now and read one chapter, and then it's like nice, concise, front to back. Pick it up a few days later. It's not like you forget what's happening in the book, like a normal a big novel. And it's a thick ass book, man.
Yeah. You know, you're just reminding me too, by the way, that the audiobook, one of the other, like I really didn't have to do anything. I just like told them, yeah, this guy sounds good to me.
Sure.
But one of the only other things I did was like the night before the guy was like scheduled to read it, they sent me an Excel spreadsheet of like maybe like 300, 400 phonetic pronunciations of like Schwarzenbach and no effects or whatever.
Sure.
They were just asking, it's just
how do you pronounce
they
them?
had a spreadsheet of like all the phonetic ones, and there were like maybe 20 highlighted, and being like, how do you know how to say this? And like, do you want to check it over? And I did find a couple where it was like, no, it's actually like McElrath and like whatever it was. And it was just so weird because I had written this entire book, and there's names that I've used sometimes like dozens of times.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I've never said that aloud. Actually, I don't know how to say the one I always get confused about, like where to put the emphasis is the label that Green Day signed to Reprise Records or Reprise Records.
I think it's Reprise, but I don't know.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
But that's not my problem.
No, it's up to them.
Whatever that guy's name.
Thank you
to the narrator. I appreciate it.
Thank you to the narrator. I mean, he did a hell of a job. I guess the reason why I assumed it was you before I knew what your voice sounded like is because a lot of books that I've listened to by, like Steve Martin and Tina Fey, obviously you want Steve Martin reading his book, Born Standing Up, of course. For your book, I mean, you're like, you guys do it. You just go, you find someone great, just do it. And it'll be out there, and you yourself will not listen to it. But people like me who were a little crunched for time, listen to it. But I will definitely go back and read it because you made it this way on purpose to be consumed by your eyes, your peepers.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing that I wasn't asked. But the actor friend that I was telling you about, like we live, we're neighbors, and the other day, well, this was like a few weeks ago, but he was like, Dan, I need your help real quick. I have to send in this audition tape for like a spot on a show. All you have to do is like read the lines for me off camera, and I film it, and I have to send it in back like in an hour. I was like, totally great.
Damn.
And so I like go in there, and I'm like, he's got like 4 lines. It's just me setting him up for 4 lines. And I, first of all, started reading the stage directions. I was like, Mark walks into the room, and he's like, you don't read that. Don't read that. And I was like, oh, okay. Right. And then I was just like, so Mark, what are y'all doing here? And he's like, why are you doing an accent? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, you don't have
acting.
To do that. And he was just like, just do it regular. And I was like, got it. Right. Okay. And he's like, so Mark, why are you all coming? He's like, stop. You don't have to do that. I was like, I know. He's like, just say the lines. It doesn't have to be good. It's not about you. And I was like, okay. And I failed. Like I had to get tapped out, and somebody did. And it was 4 lines. So maybe I say,
and he's on a time crunch.
Imagine how long a 450-page book would have taken. I don't know.
Well, and I feel like you'd be a little more hard on yourself because it's your own words and your own stuff that you wrote. Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, actually, you know what? Can I redo that?
Take 20.
I'm going to rewrite this on the fly.
Yeah, I'm going to rewrite it.
This is how I would have written it.
I'm calling the publisher. We're changing this page.
Yeah.
Wow. So I know everyone's asked you this. Why write the book at this point in time about these bands? Why write this book?
For money. I need money to live.
Well, that too.
So they give you the money if you
deliver. They give you the money.
I don't know. This was just like the era that I knew about. I didn't have to. I mean, obviously, I had to do research, but the cultural temperature of it was very innate to me. So this is just what I lived through.
Yeah. I mean, we're roughly the same age, I think. So for me too, I identified with a lot of these chapters as well. So it was fun for me to kind of go back in time 15 to 26 years, which that seems insane that some of those albums are that old.
Yeah.
But for the dear listeners that haven't looked at the book or read the book yet, the bands you fools, damn you. After this, buy the book. Okay. So you talk about, write about Green Day, Jawbreaker, Jimmy Eat World, Blink-182, At the Drive-In, the Donnas, Thursday, the Distillers, My Chemical Romance, and Rise Against and Against Me. Any bands we've heard of? I mean, those are all heavy hitters, man.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like you always think like, oh man, a book about punk, like that's not going to succeed because it's so esoteric and niche. But then you're like, just between Green Day, Blink, and My Chem, just 3 of them.
Juggernauts.
That must be like 100 million
God.
listeners combined.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I hope. And I didn't think of it in that way where I was like using their fan bases or for sales.
Right. Like, who are the biggest fan bases?
There's like a big like worldwide appeal to this book. So
for sure.
I feel lucky in that I had the sage thought to cover like commercially viable, the commercial viability of bands as they rose, Yeah,
for sure. So, you included 11 bands. I mean, there's a lot of other bands too that you could have included. Are there any ones that you were kind of bummed that you weren't able to include, or ones that you decided not to include kind of on the cusp, or is there a volume 2 in the works? I know it's very early.
I've been trying to get the ones that I couldn't cover on my newsletter reply alt, and I've been using that,
which is a great newsletter, by the way. That's how I first connected with you. So
thanks.
Yeah.
It has a podcast function built into it. So sometimes I'll do a podcast, sometimes I'll do a text interview. But I've just been talking to these people who signed with major labels or didn't sign with major labels.
Yeah.
And we've, I've been slacking because I've been doing so much other stuff. I started putting them out. I put out this podcast with Chris from Anti-Flag.
I saw that. I haven't listened to it quite yet, but yeah,
it was so crazy. And I have some others like lined up, and I've talked to some other people who I actually talked to Craig Finn, and he wanted to do it.
Nice.
Just like if Hold Steady ever got the chance to go major, and why they didn't. I've been trying to just like use that as like expanding the lure of Sellout, making it an all-encompassing experience,
multimedia type of thing.
Will go on long after I'm
right.
I'm
looking forward to seeing what other bands you talk to, what other musicians you talk to. I will definitely be checking that podcast episode out. I saw that come in the newsletter just the other day, so I was busy listening to this awesome book. So
just like something that just couldn't happen today. Just crazy, like that's the like really interesting part about all of the interviews. Like what they all have in common is just like, and that happened to you? Because that would never it must make no sense to like kids now. But
I was going to say, like, the age range for this, I mean, if the younger people, like, is there even selling out anymore? I have no idea. Not as prevalent probably as this era, but who's selling out now?
I keep getting asked that question, and I'm I don't know. Stop asking.
Like, I listen to all the old cool bands, not the new shit.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Talk to Jeff Rosenstock.
Bug him about it. So, have there ever been any bands? I know kind of where you fall on the selling out thing, but have there been any bands that you've been happy for that made it big? That bands that you follow, bands that you've listened to and liked over the years?
Do you mean at the time that I was happy for?
Go both ways, maybe at the time and then maybe looking back.
I don't think at the time, because at the time I was just this little idiot fan, and I just I just get mad because this band went to DreamWorks or whatever, and I had to pay more and ticket web fees. And
That's true.
Blah. But now I'm there's so little money to go around in the music industry.
So little. You're like, please sell out.
I'm still a fan, but I'm like have much more friends who are musicians, and so when they succeed, I'm like, that rocks. You did a Tiny Desk concert. Good for you. Hell yeah, my buddy.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah, so it's like a way different thing where we can all, whether you're friends with the artist directly or not, you can feel a little bit more sense of like pride when they're succeeding than like skepticism.
Right. So, are there any bands that let's see, where did my questions go?
Sounded like you were going to ask that last question over again, and we can do it over again.
I mean, no, that was perfect.
Are there any bands?
Are there any bands? Period.
That I wish I got into. Oh, damn. Well, on my newsletter reply alt, I'm going to use that to sort of expand the story of Sellout, and that'll continue long after I'm dead.
Long after you're dead.
I love doing it. Yeah, let's just do all the questions 2 times.
Let's just do them twice. We'll take 2. We'll use parts from part 1. No,
for sure. Yeah.
What are some bands? What are some bands you're into that you don't want to sell out? Or back in,
then?
Are there any bands currently that you follow that are like more indie that you don't want to sell out? I know you said you are friends with a lot of bands
now. But I don't think.
But what is selling out?
Like, nobody's going to go to a major label. No. The only band I can think of that did it in recent memory was Tiger's Jaw.
Oh yeah.
And I think we were all kind of like, great,
Cool. Make some money.
see you when you're back on Hopeless in
Yeah,
2 years. And
right,
no, that's
yeah.
no disrespect to Tiger's Jaw,
No,
but I was like, what is Tiger's Jaw going to become like? Miley Cyrus? Like, I don't think, they're a great band, but like,
Yeah.
I think we all saw the limit on that. Not for any reason of theirs, just like that doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't happen.
know,
it's a way different ball game.
Yeah.
I feel like with streaming too, it just kind of started killing off, selling out. And it's hard too to gauge when everything is streaming, who's big and who isn't, when you don't know, when some, zine or some website doesn't tell you like this band is big. I just feel like they get a lot of
those gatekeepers like me to tell you what music's good,
yes,
what music's
what's
bad.
cool. So with Sellout, Dan, you did some merch, which I don't fault you for at all. You did some Dan Ozzi merch. I see you've got the Sellout hat, which is cool. It's the dad hat, rocking the dad hat. We're getting to that certain age where we could wear dad hats.
Dad hat has been so popular.
I bet it has. It's pretty awesome.
I like foresee this weird, like off chance where like Urban Outfitter kids just discover it, has no fucking idea what it is a reference to, and just like I can just make more money off the hats than I ever do off the books. And maybe Urban Outfitters will take it and I'll just be rich and then I can retire, but yeah, nice? The Sellout hats are really cool.
That's great. And of course it has the S as a $sign. You wouldn't make the hat without that. Yeah, subtle. And then the Sellout Goth bundle, which I got a kick of the name, the Goth bundle.
That's all
it comes
the black
with
merch.
Yeah, all the black stuff. It comes with a tote bag, a shirt, and major label debut, a zine by you, Dan. I did like the literate hippie shirt too, the tie-dyed one. That one's pretty rad. And then of course the grocery bag, I think is my favorite. The grocery bag Sellout, the thank you.
Oh
graphic.
Yeah, I did that one.
Yeah, and that one's rad.
Yeah, that one's cool.
I like that.
I haven't seen any of this stuff yet because it's being printed and sent out.
Sure.
But hopefully I will see it soon.
So danozzi.bigcartel.com, dear listener, go buy some merch. You won't be sorry. But first buy the damn book.
Soft style. Those are some
right?
good quality shirts.
Hell yeah. And what I like too, about dad hats, I like low profile hats. I don't like the big high, like trucker hat style at all. Like I like a low hat.
Okay. So the dad hat is the only thing I actually do have.
Sure.
And I like the dad hats, but I don't like that about it. Like it kind of flattens my head. I wish there was a little more height. But then sometimes you'll get a baseball hat and it's too high. It's like a big, like farmer hat. I'm still, what are pretty cool? The 5-panel hats.
Yes.
Maybe I should have made those. You know what?
You still could.
Yeah, I'll make them.
Could.
But kids like the dad hats, and
they do. They're hot. They're hot as ever.
Yeah.
Match them up with the New Balance dad shoes. You got a whole.
You got real Steve Jobs.
A whole setup. So. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, you should have done the black turtlenecks too. Just with light dad jeans. It's a hot combo.
Yeah.
So enough about the book. Finally. I've heard rumblings about a Dan Ozzi album. Can you confirm or deny that?
Oh, well, I cannot say what I'm working on.
Doing.
And the reason I can't say it is because vinyl pressing is so fucked.
Yes, man.
It takes like a year. And so there's no point in talking about anything that I'm working on.
And you got to do it on vinyl. And there's 3 places that do records now.
It sucks. Yeah.
Like all these Target bands that are putting albums out.
My friends who I was mentioning before, their daughter turned 6 yesterday.
Okay.
Or 2 days ago, and we had a little birthday party, and she got I think it was a Frozen picture disc vinyl.
Oh, Jesus.
That's really cool.
Fuck
this stupid record. Like, this is the reason why shit.
You're not going to listen to that shit.
And picture discs sound like shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They look cool. Hang it up on the wall. Don't listen to it. So, I mean, what's up with cassettes too, man? Like,
maybe
why did those come back? Why'd they come back?
I don't know. It's like the dad hat, man. I don't know. I just know kids like them, and I'm playing the hand I was dealt.
Yeah. I just saw on RadioShack.com the other day that they're selling the old TDK tapes we used when we were 12.
What the fuck were you doing in Radio Shack?
I get the newsletter because I'm a dork. Radio Shack is back, but it's online only.
It's back to the shack.
Back to the shack. The shack is back. I mean, it markets itself.
I didn't know there was a Shaq attack happening. That's
I
really cool.
mean, it's a little different than Shaquille, but it's the same saying.
Hmm.
But anyway, the TDK tapes were $15 for a 5-pack. It's a little. I think they might be from that era.
each.
The packaging is the same and everything. So
I don't even
they might have found them
what I used to pay for them as a kid. I don't even recall.
You know, the last time I remember buying them was when I was doing college radio to tape my shows in the early 2000s, when all the bands in your book were putting out music. So I played a lot of the stuff in this book on my radio show back in the day, but I used to record my shows and I get those freaking tapes from the bookstore at my college. They were like probably $1 a piece, but yeah, I mean, no one even has cassette players anymore. So where are people playing these?
I don't know. I guess
old cars. I mean, you can still buy
Yeah.
Walkmans and stuff like that, but I mean, are the hipsters going to bring back VHS next? I mean, you got any?
Oh,
word on the street
already happened for
Yeah.
sure. My friend's got a huge collection of
Really?
VHS. For sure. There's a store opening near me in Eagle Rock, I think.
Oh no,
That's
LA
gonna be
thing.
like a video. What is the name of it? Video
Vidiots?
Heads or something?
Vidiots was the old place.
Yeah.
That was the old place that, like, I think they reopened. That used to be a place back in the day.
Yeah, and it's all
Vidiots?
VHS. So
Oh my God.
no, that for sure is
It's already there. Yeah, I guess it takes a while for this stuff to hit Fargo.
Who's gonna be the bold person who's gonna stand up and bring back Laserdisc?
Laserdisc.
That's what I want to know.
I mean, they're hard to find, so they might come back. You never know. So I mean,
Yeah.
God. So you're a music guy. What's the last concert you remember going to? Like before COVID, during, now?
Before COVID?
Yeah, I mean, it's still happening, of course. But
Well, I recently did 2 shows in a row on like a Friday and Saturday because my friend Sarah
Nice.
from Illuminati Hotties
nice.
dropped a new album, and she did like
Cool.
2 record release shows, and they were both great. But the second one she did was so good because she dropped an album during COVID that she never got the chance to play.
Of course.
So she did 2 sets where she did that album, another band played, and then she played her new album.
Whoa.
And so it was just so
Cool.
and she killed it. She was so
Damn.
good. She was so
Awesome.
good. So yeah, that was the last one that I
Very
saw.
fun. So where was that at? In LA?
Yeah, it's actually the first one was at this place, Permanent Records Roadhouse, which is like a
Cool.
bar that's also a record store, and it's actually where
damn.
I'm having my book launch party.
Yeah, I saw that.
In
That's coming
like
up
a week or 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, on the
right on.
11th, I think. So if you're in LA,
I mean, my brother
on the
lives there,
11th,
so that's why I was asking, because I know some places.
Well, tell your brother to
I will
come.
tell him, Quinn, get your ass over there.
People keep asking me. I keep getting messages like, "Hey, are books going to be available?" And it's like, it's a book party. What the fuck?
What?
Am I going to have water at my pool
No, I'm
party? Yes,
selling
I'm gonna have fucking
MP3s.
books. What do you think? Yes,
What
of
the
course.
hell?
That's the whole point of the thing.
We're gonna have a kiosk where you can download the Audible book. What do you think? Come on. What's the last song you stayed in your car to finish listening to?
I don't do that. As soon as I'm
You're
where
like,
I'm
"Fuck
at,
this."
I've
Yeah.
moved on. I don't even.
Yeah, it's not 1995. Come on. What a terrible
I
question.
get out.
Are there any songs that make you cry? If so, let us know what they are.
I don't really cry a lot, and I don't say that to sound
Sure. You're
tough.
too hard.
I wish that I could cry. I wish I cried more.
I wish I felt emotions.
No, I don't really. I feel like I did. Sometimes at night I will get in my feelings about songs, but I'm trying to remember the last time that happened. And I'm coming up with nothing, man. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. And if you would have thought of it, I was going to make you sing a little bit of it. So you
really
got out of that.
I really tried to think, and I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. If you think about it, just shoot me an email. That won't do well for the podcast, but at least I'll know. So what kind of stuff have you been watching the past year and a half? Yeah. What are you into?
I just watched that fucking Squid Game show.
Haven't done it yet, but I've heard it's sweeping the nation, of course.
It's a sensation.
All the kids are into it.
I watched that recently.
Did you like it? How was it?
Yeah, no, it was good. I think I watched I engaged in like pandemic viewing culture at the beginning. Like I watched Tiger King.
That was 8 years ago already, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. But now I'm done. I'm not after that, people got into like all these other stupid shows. And
all
I was
sorts
like,
of
no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Don't do it.
I've been watching a lot more movies. Like I got Letterboxed, and ever since I got Letterboxed, I've been pushed to watch more movies.
Yeah, I would do some damage with that.
Actually, you know what? I came close to getting teary about a movie recently.
Oh.
Every so often, I just am inspired to rewatch the Linklater Sunset trilogy.
Oh
with Ethan
yes,
Hawke and Julie
dude.
Delpy.
My wife and I watched that through COVID too. Yes,
And
all three.
I rewatched the first one the other night, and there was a specific part that really got me, and I can't remember what it is right now, but like, that those movies rock.
They're great. And just keeping the story going is just so cool. It's a fun concept that no one really does. So I dig
so
those
cool.
too. Good choice. What is the first album you ever bought?
Purchased?
Yeah, whether it be on CD, cassette.
I'll tell you, I don't know about album, but I know the first compact disc that I ever bought was Beastie Boys' Ill Communication.
Oh God, great choice.
Yeah.
Legendary. What's your favorite CD? Beastie Boys record album?
Probably for that reason, Ill Communication.
Yeah, right on. Me too. Good stuff. Gosh, what are some other great questions for this guy? What are your top 3 bands that you're listening to right now? Anything coming up like that we don't know about yet that you
like
want people to know about?
Stuff?
Yeah, anything.
Oh geez. I'm so like, well, okay, I'll go with one, but like album of the year is that Armed Ultra Pop record. I listen to it every single morning.
Nice.
At stun volume. That record rocks. Laura Stevenson's new record this year.
Oh yes,
just kicked ass.
Very good.
The aforementioned Illuminati Hotties.
Yep,
record.
I'll definitely be checking out
the
new
one. Yeah, those are, I honestly haven't been following too much new music this year because I'm just like,
you're so
embedded
busy
in this like nostalgia culture at the moment.
Right.
But those 3 albums I love this year.
Right on. So yeah, dear listener, check those out. Have you thought about doing it? Maybe you have done it, a playlist to go along with this book, whether it's official or unofficial on Spotify or wherever?
Well, you know what? Here's an exclusive for you. I just this morning finished up. It took like 4 straight nights.
Oh wow!
But I put this playlist together of like almost 200 songs
from
the book, but I wanted them to be in chronological order of release.
Oh my!
So that's what took so long because I was just looking up when these albums came out, and some of these like punk records, it's like unclear. So it's like an approximate chronology, but so it's cool because if you listen to the whole thing, depending on what age you are, it's kind of like living through your youth in real time, you know?
Wow.
So it just goes from like 87 all the way up to like 2011 or something like that. It's really cool. I'm going to drop that, as they say.
It's going to drop, as the kids say.
Maybe next week. I feel like I want to give people like a week with the book. And then once we got that, it's like, okay, here's the soundtrack to it.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be fun. Very cool. So yeah, thank you for making that, because I was going to be like, oh, I should maybe just throw one together too, just to listen to, but
this one's comprehensive.
You did all the work. This is all of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's next for you? I mean, obviously this book is taking up a lot of your time promoting it and things like that. What's next for Dan?
Going to New York, leaving Los Angeles for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
Next week to go back to New York to do an event there too.
Right on.
And I haven't really thought too far beyond that.
Sure. And that's okay, man.
Get through this year.
The whirlwind.
I have to like keep pushing the book out through the holidays because it's a great holiday book.
It is. Such a wide range.
I don't know what I get to do from there. I really, next year is like a big question mark. So
and that's
I really, can only kind of see through the end of this year at the moment.
Focus on what you're doing right now and keeping the book rolling and doing the Reply Alt newsletter and getting that playlist out. So this is a weird question, but are you going to go or have you ever gone as Jake Gyllenhaal for Halloween?
No, I've never gone as Jake Gyllenhaal for Halloween. Maybe I could do like a Donnie Darko costume. But then I think people would think it's like a Phoebe Bridgers costume.
Oh my God. That's a whole other wormhole to get into. That's funny. Oh man. So what are some plugs you want to share? Obviously the book.
Listen to Laura Stevenson. I say that every chance I get. Gotta listen to Laura Stevenson. I really like, I just generally, I did an interview with that site, The Creative Independent, yesterday. And that was kind of crazy because I always really liked that site. Like it's one of the only websites that I will like type in the
actually
URL
go to on
and
purpose.
go to and see what's going on there. And but for some reason, like all of the people on it, you read it because everybody's very smart and insightful and creative. And so you're like, wow, I'm learning so much. And so for that reason, I was just like, oh, I'm below this site. Like this site is above me.
Sure.
But then they asked if they could interview me. And I was like,
oh,
me?
Nice.
But
wow.
I'm so stupid.
Little old me.
They interviewed me and it was actually, I sound not that dumb. And so my interview is there. But like once you get there, there's all kinds of great interviews about, they really want to talk to people about like their process. So if you're like, if you make anything, music or writing or whatever, it's like a really good place where you can just sort of like hear accomplished people talk about their art. So that's I've been really into that site lately.
Definitely. I'll have to check that out more.
There's two that I really recommend. There's one with my friend's fiance named Chelsea Hodson. She's super smart and she's on there. And there's this other writer who I just really like. His name is Scott McClanahan. Okay. And he was interviewed on there too. So yeah, I've been into that site lately.
Nice.
And not just because I'm on it.
Yeah. Right. It doesn't hurt, but yeah, it's nice too. When I ask someone about plugs that they plug other people, that's always cool. It just, goes to show me you're like a good dude. And
well, I just like reread those a lot because they're helpful, like, sometimes you forget, sometimes if you do something a lot, whether it's writing or even just being interviewed, after a while, you're like, I forget. It almost becomes meta and you're like, how do I do what's a sentence?
What sentence?
And so you have to just either go back to read something for inspiration or like just see somebody give an interview. And so that site would always, like, sometimes if I'm like worried about an interview,
gets you back on track,
go read somebody be really smart and be like, okay, I'll just do an impression of this person.
That's how I be a person.
So sometimes I do that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's good. Just kind of do a mental reset before you do those kind of things. That's super helpful.
You get too in your head sometimes,
I would imagine. So we talked about movies. What are your favorite 80s movies?
What is this? A Bouncing Souls song?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yes.
Well, my favorite movie of all time came out in 1985. So Back to the Future.
Yes.
Is my favorite 80s movie.
I got the Funko Pops behind me over there. You can't see them, but...
the best film, American film ever. But I don't know if it's my favorite, but with the Bouncing Souls 80s movies song, I was thinking that me and my friend Caleb went to the New Beverly a couple of weeks ago, which is Quentin Tarantino's movie theater.
Right.
And they just show movies on film. And we saw Valley Girl, which is first question mark Nicolas Cage movie.
It is.
And we just had such a good fucking time. We had such a good time. And Caleb was like, this is the most women I've ever seen in this theater. This is like a dude heavy crowd. And this is like but it's so, I love that movie. Oh my God. I love that it made it into a Bouncing Souls record. Yeah, there's something about that movie. I just really love it.
It should have gotten way more credit. That movie, the soundtrack.
Yeah,
everything. Oh my God.
Monster of
Million
Love
Miles
song.
Away. Yeah. Plim Souls.
That Sparks song. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sparks. I actually bought that on DVD used because it's not on streaming anywhere that I could find. So my wife and I have watched that numerous times since we've been together.
It was added to something over the summer, like Amazon.
Oh yes,
Prime
you're right.
Like
it
that.
Was. Yes, because we did look and we watched it again.
You know what it was? They remade the movie. I don't need to rewatch that.
We did.
Watch that.
Yeah. Don't waste your time.
But I think once they did that, then they added the original.
You're right.
Like Prime or something like that. And
so they can go back in history.
It's just very likable.
Yeah. So dear listener, if you've not seen Valley Girl, go see it.
As you can tell, I like movies about people falling in love. I think it's very nice.
And yet you don't even cry. Like, what is that?
I just enjoy it. I like watching.
You enjoy it for the story.
It's like it's like some kind of weird, I don't know, like escapism or something.
Sure.
I like it.
Well, Dan, I could talk to you all day. I really could, but I know I want to be mindful of your time. I want to do your plugs for you because you're too modest of a man. Check out danozzi.com. at Dan Ozzi on Instagram and Twitter. And you're not on Facebook, are you?
I'm not.
I looked. Believe me, I looked, and I was like,
oh, wait, did I not come up when you looked?
I was trying to tag you on the Rocks post today about you being on the show, and I don't think you came up.
So I had not logged into Facebook in probably 3 years. And like last week, I was like, I should log into Facebook and post my book so I can kind of flex on everybody I went to high school with. And
take that, Becky.
I went to log in, and it was like, first of all, forgot the password, obviously.
Sure, of course.
Had to reset the password. So I reset the password, and then it was like, hey, you haven't logged on from this device. Can you prove that it's you?
Oh, no.
And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And the only option that it gave me one option to prove my identity, which was it picked 4 random of my friends.
Oh, no.
And it was like, call these people and tell them to get a 4-digit code and then put the code into this and prove it's you. But the problem is, I didn't pick the 4 people. They just randomly picked them. And I didn't even really know who they were. One of them was Stizza from Leftover Crack, who I guess I'm friends with. And they were just like, pick,
people like
call
that.
these people. And I was like, this is insane. And so I couldn't do it. And they wouldn't offer me any other login method. So I guess I'm deactivated. I don't know. I think that's the end of my account.
I'm surprised they didn't send it to your phone.
No, I know, like
that's what they normally do.
Any kind of question about
any other thing.
Pick which ones of these are your friends, or pick whatever. I don't know.
Is this your friend? I didn't know they did it like that, where they like want your friends to come up with a number for you.
It was nuts, and they wouldn't. And I tried refreshing it, like maybe it'll give me 4 people I know this time.
Oh yeah,
and
like a
it
roulette.
Just didn't. It just wouldn't. Like it just picked these 4 people and was like, ask them to vouch for you, basically.
Oh God!
And
so how are you going to flex on those people from high school now?
I know. Well, hopefully I'll get it so huge.
I think you will.
They'll have no choice to see it.
Oh my God!
God, the people from my high school. How could I reach them? Directly, other than being in like a Fast and Furious movie. I have no fucking idea.
Or some right wing
from Staten Island, so I have no idea how I would, unless I was on like Jersey Shore or something. I don't think I'm going to.
Or you're on Rumble or something on the right wing conspiracy sites.
Oh yeah. If I get like interviewed by like Charlie Kirk or something like that.
Right. Yeah, one of those type of guys. Well, dear listener,
and if he's listening, I will do his podcast.
He'll take it. Wherever else, we'll send it to him.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, dear listener. Please go out, buy the book Sellout by Dan Ozzi. That's Ozzi. When I was listing his handles before, it's DAN Ozzi. Dan, I want to thank you so much for being here today, man. This was so fun. I could talk longer, and it'd be great for your next book if you'd come on. We'll chat again.
So I got a reason to write another book then.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, best of luck to you, and take care. And I'm going to go reread the book without the audio.
Do it backwards now.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks so much for having me.
See you later, man. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, that wraps up my super fun interview with Dan Ozzi. I had such a great time chatting with him. Thank you so much for listening to On the Rocks podcast, presented by supermetalworld.com. I appreciate it. We're a growing podcast and need your help. How, you ask? Subscribe on Apple Podcasts / Apple Music, Stitcher, Spotify. Write a quick review on Apple if you would, so we can climb the charts. Follow On the Rocks on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram at @ontherocks_podcast and on Twitter at @ontherocks_pod. Invite your music and pop culture loving friends to like our Facebook page as well. So that'd be great. Like, comment, and share our posts, retweet, share our content to your Instagram stories. Visit ontherockspodcast.com to catch up on past episodes. Want to sponsor us? That would be cool. Or even be on the show. We're looking for our first sponsors of the show, and we're always looking for more guests to partner with us and be on. If you own a business or work for a rad company, I encourage you to hit us up. We're always looking for fun and interesting guests. To email ontherockspodcast1 @gmail.com.